Order. Shelley, can do roll call, please?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. District 1, Councilman Rios is excused. District 2, Councilman Pastor.
Present.
District 3, Councilman Latham.
Present.
District 4, Vice Mayor Stapleton is excused. District 5, Councilman Gonzalez.
Here.
District 6, Councilman Shipley is excused. Mayor Veneros.
Here.
We do have a quorum, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Shelley. We pray tonight for this council meeting. Give this council, us, the wisdom and the guidance as we deliberate on the items before us. May every decision be righteous in your sight and for our benefit and for your glory. We pray for those families suffering the loss of a loved one this past week, especially Tom Belchey and his family with the loss of their son, Tom being the executive director of the League of Cities, and for the Marine and the Bejarano family on the tragic loss of their daughter, Jillian Marin. In God's name we pray. Amen. Mariano, can you lead us in the pledge, please?
Yes. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Start with summary kind of current events, and Mike, we'll start with you. You got any?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I really don't have anything to share. I spent so much time looking up the definition of the words that Mariano sent us in his email. So with that, I'm sure you guys had a pretty good time in Washington. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Jesse, you have any comment?
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to thank everybody on the staff for the awesome conference we just attended to in D.C. A lot of great progress. That conference is always well attended, and a lot of great information that we bring back to our community, along with making sure that our legislative elected officials know our positions and make sure they're aware of rural Arizona such as Globe. That's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Mariano?
Two things. I'd like to thank our staff for all the hard work they put into the materials that we presented to Congress as well as to the federal departments. It was very well done and short, sweet, to the point, and very well received. I really appreciate that. And the second thing is that I just got my eyes examined and fresh glasses, and I've noticed that in my district anyway, I've got a lot of night lights that are out. So I'm going to be taking photos of the numbers on the posts and making a list. And I'm asking the public, if you see any out there that are dark at night, send them to City Hall. I'd like to make a giant list and send it over to APS. And with that, I'll shut up. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mariano. Yeah, I want to thank our staff for all the work they put into producing those booklets as we took to Washington. They were amazing. They really appreciated as we made our presentations. It made our job easier. We hope this trip has been successful, and we feel it is. That it'll bring more funding to our city for the projects that we have in the next 2 to 3 years, 1, 2, and 3 years. So thank you again to staff.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, just to reiterate, we go there with a federal legislative agenda, a list of requests and projects with the support of council and staff and Bob Holmes Nexus Consulting. And last year we went forward with a water line request that resulted that when we were there, I think this past Friday, that we learned that we got $959,000 out of one of those requests from last year. This year it came through as a appropriation passed by both the House and the Senate, and then we ended up with and this is thanks to Representative Gallegos, and so we had another 3 to 4 requests that we're putting in for now that the council shared with everyone, and we hope that by this time next year we'll be talking about more money that we've done, and these are tax dollars that are paid by everyone and decided and distributed. And so we're bringing Arizona money back to Arizona. We call these above the fold money. It's not the money that we're deserved by population, but additional money that we can bring back. So it's very helpful for us because, like I say, it's above the fold. It's money we normally would not see. So, Mr. Mayor, members of council, thank you very much.
Thank you. We have a first community call to the public, and this is a time when any citizen wishes to speak to the council. Their time frame is limited to 3 minutes, and the council, on any comments from citizens, we cannot respond to, but we can direct to staff. So I do have one. I have George Pateris. If you want to come up here, Mr. Pateris, and state your name and address.
My name is George Pateris. We presently are residing at 745 South Broad Street. We are, in fact, snowbirds, but we're here 7 months of the year and wouldn't pass it up for anything. But my question relates basically to the progress, or what I should say is lack of progress, on the Connie's Bridge project. We live across the street. Many days, they only show up 3 days a week, sometimes with 2 or 3 people, and there seems to be no progress whatever. They spent days shoveling out dirt into wheelbarrows underneath after the last time it rained. What's going to happen when June rolls around, in July? These people are not making progress. Secondarily, I've heard from a very couple of people, number one, that this, you guys can answer this first, but is there a penalty in this? This was supposed to be done in September. It's now February. It's not half done. Are they being penalized? I heard there was a discrepancy in the penalty clause, and currently there's no penalty being paid. And secondarily, I also heard today that the city no longer has an inspector. The contract with the inspector has run out, the lack of funds or whatever. So who's going to inspect this? Are they being penalized? And is the city taking any position on progress or lack thereof?
Thank you.
Mr.
Yes, yeah, if you're done, sir, yes. Paul, can we, I request that we get a public update by next meeting on these questions that he has just addressed with us. I assume this is a concern of a lot of people.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, members of council, we be happy to meet directly and I personally with your group. But I have to correct a falsehood. I don't know who told you that we didn't have an inspector, but we have a consultant, we have an inspector who's on the job. I don't know why anybody would say that he's not. That's out of left field. I confirmed as of, had a meeting on the progress of the bridge 2 hours ago with the inspector in the room. Okay, and so just so you know, I don't know who's saying that, but I feel we're not supposed to talk about things during call to the public, but it would be unfair to him for this to go out and us not to respond that is not accurate information. Yeah. No. Right, and so I want to, yeah, and so I don't know. We'll talk later, but I just, for the good, when it comes to employees, we need to correct misstatements, and that inspector is employed with the city as he has been.
Okay, I appreciate that, but I do request
Yes, and
public update on Connie's
Right,
Bridge
and
with a time frame, with everything, so the public
Right.
is aware of everything.
right, and like I say, I could go on for there's a lot to talk about. There are a lot of good things happening. The April 9th at the latest, if we can get it in the next March meeting, we will. But let's shoot for, let's see. Well, we can talk about it at future agenda items about possibly 23rd of March.
Okay, I'll bring it up on future agenda items, okay?
Okay. And then we can.
Thank you, George. Thank you. Next, we go to special presentations, and item 3A we're going to table. That was the introduction of Travis Ashball. We'll table that till the next meeting. Item 3A is presentation of the spring 2024 session of the Citizens Academies, which will kick off March 27, 2024 through May 8, 2024. And Lisa?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Tonight, we are kicking off the Spring 2024 Citizens Academy. Class 6 will begin on March 27th and will go for 7 weeks with graduation on March 14th. The purpose of the Citizens Academy is to educate citizens on how the city works and the role of each department. Each Wednesday evening, you will engage with city officials and staff and gain a deeper understanding of municipal operations, services, and programs, council authority, and legal restrictions which the city must operate. There is also a competitive element with the cook-off between the departments. It could be carne asada, tacos from the police department, or barbecue beef from Public Works. You never know what your meal will be. And it's a fun surprise at graduation to see which department will receive a rotating plaque. The Citizens Academy is open to the residents of Globe, Miami, and the surrounding communities. Applications are available at City Hall and on the city website. Do you have any questions for me?
Just a comment, Mr. Mayor. That you yourself said, either on the plane trip or in Washington, you believe in science, you believe in fact, and the rule of law. And if ever there was a time for citizens to take advantage of the program, it's right now. You will see how this city operates. You will see what it takes to provide the operations that the city states it will carry out in its levy, carrying out the tax levies and the services. You will see that. And I've been in government for 26 years when I retired, and today, right now, I still am learning about government. And so with that, I advise you, if you really are, this is a democracy. It takes a lot of people to run a democracy. The upfront, in the field, people of our city do the work. And if you want to learn about how this city operates, take the academy. We'd be glad to have you there, and you'll learn a lot about it. I really, really think that's a great way to go. And we do have guests of the city that take that course. We might designate a few. Paul, sometimes you insert a few at your request. We'd be glad to have you. How many do we teach at a time?
I'll go up to 20 participants.
So 20, there's 20 opportunities right there for you. So we really would like you to see our operations. After coming back from Washington, I would put this staff up against anybody in the state of Arizona. So come see us. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. Those will be in the back. Thank you, Lisa, for all the work on that, all the staff. I know there's a lot of work entailed in doing this every week, but it's very important. It's been very successful to our citizens.
Yeah.
So if anyone is interested in taking this academy, please sign up, and you'll learn quite a bit as to what the operations of our city is.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, and to Lisa's point, this has been very successful. It's really, it does, people do find it intriguing, interesting to learn exactly what goes on. It's somewhat intimidating, government, and there's 9 different segments, there's departments going on, so help to do that. And it helps to councils requested, preached, pushed. We need to help educate about what we do, what we succeed in, and what we're about. And this has been a big boon in doing that education. And then I meet with many city managers around the state, and sometimes we talk about how beneficial this can be to the community. To the people who might be considering this, grab a friend. If you can find somebody from your circle or from your work, a lot of times we'll get multiple people from one employer. We find that's always fun and interesting, and so you can kind of step into it together. And also it's open to city employees. You can do evening. We'll talk more about it, but we've even talked about doing a daytime version that would be open to city employees just because of the benefits. But we have no restrictions on. I think we even had some people from Superior and Miami who come and take these. So encourage everybody to sign up.
And Lisa, you said there were how many slots? 20?
20, but if there are more applications, we'll review them.
Okay, and it's at no cost to the citizens, correct?
No cost, and it is a lot of fun, and you get great meals, and you learn a lot.
Right. Okay, thank you very much.
And Mr. Mayor, members of council, you get past 20, and as a former teacher, you know it's hard to really focus on anything more than that. Just manageability is on that, but you know it's each class has filled up pretty much, but I don't think we've ever turned anybody away either. So even if it's the last minute and you're like, I think I can clear my schedule, just check in with Lisa, and we'll get you on board.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you, Lisa.
Vince, one of these days.
Next, we have the consent calendar. Matters listed on the consent calendar are considered to be routine and will be enacted by one motion and one vote. Public hearing items are designated with an asterisk. Prior to consideration of the consent agenda, the mayor will ask whether any member of the public wishes to remove a public hearing item for separate consideration. Members of the council and/or staff may also remove any item for separate consideration. We have item A, consideration of waiver of section 2-4-10A prior discussion rule to allow action on the balance of the consent agenda. And item A1 is accounts payable, $668,685.98. Do we have anybody from the staff, council, or public wishing to remove any items separately?
Mr. Mayor, if there's no comments or concerns about the item 4A, I would make a motion that we accept it as presented. Second.
Motion and second for approval of the consent agenda as read. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed, nay. Motion passed. New business, item 5A, consideration to approve resolution number 1886, uncollectible water debt in the amount of $4,313.38 for fiscal year 2023. And Jody will be presenting. Shelley, can you read resolution number 1886, please?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Resolution number 1886, a resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of Globe, Gila County, Arizona, providing for treatment of certain debts owed the city in the amount of $4,313.38, which have been deemed potentially uncollectible for FY 2023, and removing same from the records as assets of the city of Globe and providing direction for future treatment of same. Is council pleased with that reading?
Yes.
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 Thank you, Shelley. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. It's been another year already. So the uncollectible debt that we're talking about tonight is for fiscal year ending 2023. Staff has done the same steps that we've always done in the past. We haven't changed anything as far as procedure on how to collect phone calls, letters, small claims, collecting the same. Good news is our debt is down. So as Shelley mentioned, it is the $4,313.38 for a total this year, which is still below the 0.01% of our enterprise. And these were 26 accounts, 21 which were tenants, and 5 homeowners.
5 were homeowners.
5 were homeowners, yeah. So that's about all of it in a nutshell. Just asking to see if we can move this forward for approval of the resolution next time.
Mike?
Julie, are any of these accounts, are they repeats from last year?
No, we can't write off more than once. Once they're written off, they're a final billed account that's gone.
Okay, and so if they sign back on for city services and they were a past delinquent, does that pick up on them or?
Yes.
Okay.
We do collect it at that time. If
Okay.
they want services from the city, again, they do have to pay their prior debt.
Thank you.
And
Mayor.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, so Jody, thank you. The when it's a renter, but the owner of the house is just the landlord, the owner is not, is or is not responsible for the actions of the
Is not. It
Is not.
follows the person, not the property.
so what you said, I think, how many, what was the split between owners and
21 tenants and 5 homeowners.
5 homeowners? And those homeowners, are they still occupying, or are the homes been sold after that? Do we
If they
know?
were still occupying, then we would collect.
Okay.
If they are continuing or wanting to continue service with the city, then they would have to pay this debt in order to do that.
Okay.
Thank you, Jody.
Jesse, you have anything?
Mayor, I don't have any questions, but I just want to commend Jody and her staff for always doing the best job and keeping us under that 1%. I think this is a lower number than we saw in previous years, and you guys just do a great job of what you're doing. So keep it up. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah, I echo that too. Yeah, I've seen it 4 times that amount in the past years, and I know it's a lot of work to continue to follow up with these individuals. I still think that, and I think we brought it up, that we need to go after the individuals that refuse to pay their bills and continue to live in these residences. That number is probably 10 times that amount in depth. So we got to consider that.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, and I would be remiss, I know that something that Representative Rios, Councilman Rios, sorry, my Washington D.C., Councilman Rios has been asking, we're still looking at, is the IGA with Arizona Water. So with lack of sewer, we can do that. But are these primarily in Arizona Water area, or?
No.
No, these are citywide.
I don't think any of them are this time.
Okay.
No, none of them are this
Yeah.
time.
And
I
if
think
you-
the ones I'm talking about are in the Arizona
Yeah.
Water
No, and that,
area, because there's nothing to really
no, like I say,
force them to really pay their bills.
mm-hmm. And that's that sewer bill. But no, I mean, if you think about the 26 out of the, what, over 2,000 hookups, it's a very small percentage. So it shows your great work with your gentle persuasion.
Is this a move forward, Jody?
Yes, thank you.
Then with that, Mayor, I'd motion to move it forward to the next meeting.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to go ahead and make the resolution. Jesse, this is, I'll second.
Okay. We have a motion, a second, for approval of, or moving forward, resolution number 1886. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed, nay? Any abstaining? Motion passed. Thank you, Jody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jody.
So item 5B is discussion and consideration to approve a contract number PS-2024-0069 with the Sustainability Engineering Group LLC and the designation of Dana Burkhart as the zoning administrator for the city of Globe on an as-needed basis in a contract amount not to exceed $75,000 for a 1-year term, with additional 2-year renewal options funded through account number 10-66-51234, Economic Development Contractual Services, and request to waive section 2-4-10A. Prior discussion room.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, I think I don't know, I think it'd be over 2 years that we've used Dana Burkhart as hub, planning and urban design, as our zoning administrator, and to take care of many of the, no other better term than loose ends in activities we take with properties, easements, and alignments and zoning, and he's just done a wonderful job that's kind of changed everything and helped us set the stage for the development we're now seeing. He's pivotal in bringing him on. He was working as a independent contractor, but he says he got an offer he couldn't refuse by a company that brought him on. That would be what is it, SEG? Where did I see that? Oh, sustainability engineering, but luckily the president of SEG and worked with Dana, and what they are going to do is they are going to assume his contract and allow Dana to continue to work for the city of Globe while he's doing additional work with his new company. So we're very appreciative of that. The structure is a little bit different. He'll be billing out, as he had been before, $75 an hour for general zoning administration work. But when it comes to working directly with the applicants and application processes, that will be billed at that 165 rate, and those rates will be charged forward to the applicant of whatever the activity is. Let's say, just for Marigold is one example, or Reyes Ridge. There's always been the idea that development should pay for itself. And so if you're coming to develop in Globe, if you need something from us, there are certain things that are scalable to the size of your development, and we can build that. I think the best example would be the $3 million, or was it $3 million? It was like $30 million improvement to the hospital that happened right about 2016. And we hired a company to go and do the plan review and make sure that was done properly. We did not have the staff to do it. We had a contractor, and that cost was passed along. What's in our fee schedule, that when we need to hire third-party consultants to do these types of applications, we have that ability to pay. And it allows us the flexibility to do this, and everybody's happy that we can keep the projects on time. So this would be a two-tier contract, where general zoning administration work would be billed at 75, but applications, CUP, pre-apps, these types of things where the staff needs to work with Dana, that will be billed out. Now, the advantage, though, is Dana is so well versed in what is going on in Globe, in the zoning, in the county, knowing so much about it already. He can be very efficient at it. He knows that he's close with staff, and so while it may seem a large amount of money, I'll tell you, with somebody as professional and knowledgeable, he can handle these cases, these zoning cases, very quickly, these development cases. So this is a win-win. Dana had us all pretty panicked there for a little while, but we're happy we can keep him on. And Mary, council knows how beneficial he's been.
No questions, just a comment. Dana did do a good job for us, and when you did say he was leaving, I just freaked out. I thought, my God, what are we going to do now? Because we got so much stuff going out there, and I'm glad to hear that we're able to work something out with him, especially after the experience we went through before we hired him. So I think he's proved his worth to us.
And Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Councilman. Mr. Mayor, members of council, we will be putting together an application or a position of zoning administrator, and putting it on the internet, posting that position. If we could find someone out there who would bring on as staff, that we'd already talked about this even before Dana was leaving. It was a part-time thing that has grown into about a three-quarter-time thing, and it would be good to have that position in-house as we grow. And we can safely place that position on and advertise for that slot. If we did find someone nearly as qualified as Dana, then that would reduce Dana's impact, if not eliminate it, and then we bring that job in-house. So in the long term, it is always best to have these. If we have the ability to keep a zoning administrator full-time busy, which I think we do, it would be better to have that in-house. But for now, with this transition, it's good we can keep Dana on board.
Sounds good. Jesse, you got any comments, questions?
Mayor, I don't have any questions. I just think that with the amount of progress that our staff is bringing in, and the developers, and making ourselves attractive to the quality of developers that we're bringing in, I think it's pertinent that we have somebody that's as well versed as Dana is, and he's been a professional this whole time. And I mean, he's like Paul says, the proof is in the pudding, and there it is. I mean, it's well worth our investment into him, because he's invested a lot into us here.
Yeah, I'd like to comment also. I don't think Dana brings a lot to the table. There's no way that we would have been where we're at now without that type of expertise, because of the amount of, changes and things that are going on, the projects. There's no doubt that he brings that to the table, and at least we're ready now to address these things for the future, which we weren't 5 years ago, 6 years ago. Question on the applicant and the 165 an hour, is that comparable to other cities and what they charge for this type of service?
I believe it's a little low. I think it's I think it's definitely comparable. I think we didn't price it out, but don't be put off by that number. I think for the level of services and the knowledge that Dana has, I think that's a bargain. So, and I forgot Dana is on the Zoom, and so if you have any questions, Dana, any thoughts, comments, or responses?
Thank you, Mayor, council members. It's a great pleasure to continue to serve with Globe. I get a lot of personal satisfaction out of seeing the growth and quality of growth in the community. And as Paul said, I do know your codes very well, and I'm able to streamline processes for any potential applicants, particularly these more complex scenarios. And applications like Marigold is a good one, and Hill Street School. So I'm happy to continue to just share my knowledge and keep you guys achieving your goals and objectives. And I will note my billable rate is actually at 195, but given the circumstances and my commitment to keeping things moving forward, he agreed to the fee schedule you see there. So look forward to continue to work with you.
Dana, we're glad you're staying with us. It's important for our future.
Thank you, Dana.
Thank you, sir.
And Mr. Mayor, members of council, just this contract overlaps the budget cycle, and so we'll be, while we're maxing the not to exceed is at 75,000 annually. We will be refilling the consultant bucket at the budget cycle in planning and preparing for this in the future.
And that amount was what we always budget anyway, wasn't it?
Yeah, 75,000. Mm-hmm.
Mayor, I'd like to go ahead and make a motion to approve contract PS 2024-0069 as written with the Sustainability Engineering Group. And waive the rules, sir.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second for approval of item 5B. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed, nay. Any abstaining? Motion passed. Thank you, Dana.
Thanks, Dana.
Thank you all very much. Thank you, Mayor.
Item 5C is council will discuss and possibly ratify a payment of $12,186 to Globe Office Building Partners, LLC to reimburse closing costs for donating the Haven Building to the Southern Gila County Economic Development Corporation located at 621 South 5th Street, Globe, Arizona. This will be funded by GL number 10-66-51262 Community Development.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, as you remember at the tail end of 2023, Haven approached us and wanted to donate one of their two buildings that they have. It was important for them that they are able to use that to two things that are important. They wanted to get it donated so they could take advantage of a tax break, which is when you're giving something away. That's pretty nice. It's the least that can happen. The other thing is they wanted to guarantee that the building went to support seniors, and we were not able to facilitate the donation to us and them still retain the tax break. So as you recall, we ended up working an agreement with EDC. And so the building was donated to EDC with our support, and that way Haven could get the tax break. We had a pledge that we would take this building and work with some third-party partners try to do and find some win-win for a private sector or nonprofit to develop this building at for senior support. In doing that with the EDC, one of the pledges that council made was that we would hold EDC harmless on costs. That kind of manifests in two versions. Number one, every building needs to be secure and make sure that it's maintained and safe. We've taken on that responsibility. And then the second thing is the closing cost would be covered by the city, so it wouldn't come out of EDC. I think it's a fair offer that council made and agreed to, that there is no financial burden placed on the EDC. Now, the closing costs came out higher than we had expected, coming out at $12,186, but I think that was because of the high value of the building. If you look on the document, it was evaluated, and the donation was valued at over $6 million, and the escrow fees are a percentage of that. So we're finishing this off by going ahead. Haven had taken had paid the fees with the promise that we would follow up and reimburse Haven. So this item is to reimburse Haven for the fees, so that they don't lose any money on the donation, and the EDC is not burdened with that money. I don't know if that's clear as mud. I don't know.
Comment, Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, go ahead, Mario.
The upper level scheme of things, the impetus of why we're doing this, bears explanation. A survey came out 2 or 3 years ago noting the lack of housing of any kind in the region. A lot of it is substandard or not maintained. The turnover level is very low. It doesn't matter what you're trying to buy, it's just not there. And we're faced with economic change, good changes, but the inventory is just not there. And so one of the things that we as a council have tried to do is to increase the availability of housing in all sectors. This is just another one. Funny, we're not in the housing business, we're not a realtor, and yet we're trying to find ways to get our people to stay here or shift to another lifestyle in terms of where they live or how they live, taking into account age and availability of housing. So it's another step, in my opinion, that addresses that survey, and that we should be doing these things in the temporary to help the availability of an inventory in this community, with the hope that with the hard work of our economic development department, that we attract more industry, therefore more jobs, and possibly more inventory within the real estate inventory. And to be honest, we don't have to do this, but we see the future and we need more housing. And I want that clear, that we're trying to take the lead on this, because it helps the entire region, and I think is the best use of city funds assisting other agencies to increase that inventory. So that's all we're trying to do here. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
As you know, I walk around a lot here now that I'm retired and everything. I just happened to walk over there the other day to the hospital, and we had some people in there drawing floor plans and everything on the building. Of course, they want to know what the heck I was doing in there, and I just got lost and paying for a walk. So, but anyways, they're working on it, and I think it's a solid building. It's been in our neighborhood for many, many years over there, and I think it's coming to our benefit.
Jesse, any comments, questions?
No, Mayor. I just I guess I do have one question. Did we approached the EDC, or did the EDC approach us for this partnership?
We approached the EDC.
Okay, so just so that way it's clear and concise, that if any nonprofit had reached out to us, that we would have taken that under advisement.
Right. With the EDC was the obvious choice with their mission and some of the things they've done prior with these types of partnerships, and they were very willing and open-minded. They were so helpful with the Gorman situation putting that together and helping us with the long-term loan that, again, we're not a bank. We can't do a long-term loan, so they took it upon themselves to manage that. And now it's the agreement was 2 years, and after that, if they want to do something else with it, they can. We have a 2-year window to try to put this partnership together, and but it's just been another example of just all of our community pulling together to make these things happen.
Thank you for that explanation, Paul.
Thank you.
That's all I have, Mayor.
Yeah, and as a member of, or past chair of the EDC also, I think now they're moving forward with the concept that they should have been in the past is, they are there for economic development for our community. And this is all part of it, to enter the partnership to increase housing stock, to increase other businesses within our community. So I think that's important, and they're willing to do that, to work with our city to be able to do that. I have a couple of questions. GL, what does that mean? I don't know. I've never seen a GL before the number.
General ledger?
Yeah, general ledger? Okay, I've never seen that one. I didn't know what that one stood for.
Yeah, usually we just say account number, but general ledger account number.
Okay.
And Mr. Mayor, and I don't want to cut you off, but the two things I did want to follow up to Councilman Gonzalez's comments. We're normally not in the housing business as a city, but every city in Arizona, and moreover in the country, with the shakeup and the changes in the housing market and the affordability issues, we have tried to use whatever incentives, leverage, whatever tools we can to help make it more possible for more houses to be created and added to the community. It does drive economic development. It's same story with Gorman, that if people have affordable senior housing or alternatives, and they move out of the house that maybe they can't manage as well, move into a more modern apartment, opening up a house to either be sold or leased or rented to a younger person who may be looking to take a job or start a business in Globe. It just shakes up the market, and I think gets a lot of these properties that get hung up after the passing of the family members, get them sold ahead of time into the market sooner. So there are many levels of advantages by both of these projects, both Gorman and hopefully this project.
I totally agree with you there. The other question I had was, we're really just working with third party to come up with some kind of project where we're not responsible for any upgrades to the building at all, just securing the building then, right?
The only role that we have is we do have the ability to support in grant funding and trying to find grants that fit the criteria. And so I would say that our role in using our grant manager to try to help see if this fits, and if we can bring grant money to the city or to the community, it still benefits the city. But this will not be. We're not construction managers and developers. We're hoping to partner with firms, nonprofit or for-profit, that can help develop this. But if you're a developer and you can start out with a building at a very low cost rather than $6 million, you can takes the edge off the cost to flip the building and make it livable and modern. So it's a great advantage.
And one of since this is we've heard this before, is this a waiver or is this we vote on it?
We would like to. This is in actually ratify. We need to get the money transferred to them, and so you can waive or not waive the rules, but our request would be to waive the rules, and let's take care of this. It's not probably the first time or the last time Haven will be on the agenda. At some point, we'll be coming back with a presentation for how we hope to do some type of competitive bid to find someone to partner with us. Anything we do in the way of, we will put a scope together and say, hey, this is something that we can help arrange. If you can come with a program of how would you, if we could get you this building, how would you put that to use to meet the needs of the deed restriction, which is senior, supporting seniors? And that will have to come to council. But I think we talked about this, and right now waiving the rules would just make it simpler.
Sounds good. I just have one other comment, because I've heard comments about, residents, and I don't even know if the residents of Globe, but they don't want to see growth, and I think we've proven at this council that, we have a vision of a bigger Globe, and we can't just limit our vision and our dreams to very small. It's okay to dream big, and that's what we're doing now, and we are exploring uncharted territory by what we're doing, but we're bringing growth. There is growth to Globe, and it's going to continue to grow. We're going to see that.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, I would dice that. I would say, I bet those people really don't want to see a lot of change. Now, growth can happen without the change and the things that we love about Globe. The sense of community, the neighbors checking on neighbors, the uniqueness of Globe, and so we can expand and bring more people within the umbrella of the wonderful community, and I would say that some of these projects are going to restore the community of the past that they may feel has been lost already, and revitalizing and bringing this back to this wonderful community that everybody falls in love with. It's they come here, they poke around, and they realize that it's not the shiniest object, but boy howdy, it's got a lot of spirit and gumption, and they want to be part of that. And I think we can maintain the community without support growth without changing the community.
Go ahead.
Okay, so Mr. Mayor, I would make a motion that we approve contract number CS 2024-0068. Oh, wait, that's the wrong one.
That's the wrong one.
Wrong one. See. Well, sorry about that. I flipped my page over here before I got going. Mr. Mayor, I'd make a motion to ratify the payment of $12,186 to Globe Office Building Partners LLC for reimbursing closing costs for the Haven building donated to the Southern Gila County Economic Development Corporation, and I would request we waive the rule.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for approval of item 5C. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed, nay? Any abstaining? Motion passed. Thank you. We have item D is discussion and consideration to approve contract number CS-2024-0068 with RDH Environmental Services for flow monitoring services of $25,040 budgeted from account number 51-80-52200 wastewater capital outlay construction with possible WIFA reimbursement and request to waive section 2-4-10A prior discussion of Vince.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We've been talking about the recent development. So with the recent development coming up, we've got some questions about capacity of our pipes with the sewage coming in. With other developments, we thought that we've got to go ahead and start some studies. So when we went with, went out to bid, we got some contractors to give us some quotes on flow monitoring. So we ran the numbers and looked at their company. We picked RDH as the best responsible bidder. They plan to come in, put 6 monitoring flow devices. They're a non-contact. They use this thing called FlowDAR. It's like a ultrasonic. It pulses and it collects data every 5 minutes. They're gonna have them in the holes for 9 days. They'll take the measurements of the pipe, the diameter of the pipe, and then they'll I don't know, they calculate that into their machine somehow, and the magic numbers come out and tells us what our pipes are capable of handling. You guys got any questions?
Vince, this is wastewater, waste?
Correct.
It's not water, it's wastewater.
No, just the wastewater.
Just sewer then.
Correct.
And this goes in conjunction with the study that we had presented to us on the northeast corridor and
Those-
what our
yes.
capacity is for that area up there.
Yeah, the questions that came up with Kimley Horn and all them, these will help answer all those questions. And this will help answer questions for other developments in other areas that we want to collect sewage from. So.
Questions? Comments?
Oh, Mr.
I don't have any questions.
No.
Jesse, anything?
I understand.
No, I have no questions. I understand what we're doing here.
And Mr. Mayor, members of council, we are asking to waive the rules on this. We need to get these in place and allow these flow calculations to go back to Kimley Horn so they can finish off a question that's been requested by the developer in the area there. And so the sooner we can get the information back to Marigold, the sooner they can continue their design based on what we supply them. So this is that partnership between the city and development, so that they can, build into our system and do it with the knowledge that we're sizing everything right.
In our wastewater, is that the capacity, or what percentage do we have available?
That's what they're going to tell us.
They'll
Yeah.
tell us what it is then.
They're going to take lengths and diameters, and they'll add it all up, and then with the amount of water they see in the pipe, I don't know how the numbers work, honestly, but
And Mr. Mayor, members of council, so water is pressurized, sewage is gravity fed, and so it's you can have you have a entrance height, an exit height, and an angle, but how well the pipes are flowing is something where, and I don't know that much about it, but a flow meter will give you a very accurate, so they can predict, make sure that they have the right capacities and size everything right. Water is a little simpler because you have pressure and diameter, and you can
Right.
So.
So we have a similar setup down at the plant already for our effluent that leaves, and that's what we. It's a sonar, and that's what we, collect all our data on how much we're sending out the door to Freeport. So it seems pretty accurate from what our estimates are. So,
But Mr. Mayor, members of council, in the question is not can our sewer plant handle the flow. It's just a matter of sizing the pipes to get it all to the sewer capacity, water capacity. We're sitting in very good situations. We for Marigold development and the development we see on the horizon. We're ready to go with water and sewer capacity. And that's always a good thing.
Do they measure the area with the lift stations like to the west of us too also? Is that also?
yeah, so the way we planned that one, we picked out the manholes already. We kind of, looked at our system, and so the way we're going to figure it is we're just going to do a total at the plant where the lift station enters into the plant there. So down at the plant we couldn't put, or at the lift station we couldn't put one there because it comes into the lift station at 2 points. So it's kind of just difficult there, so we're going to catch it at the plant. Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, I would make the motion that we approve contract number CS-2024-0068 with RDH Environmental Services for flow monitoring services of $25,040 budgeted from account number 51-80-52200 wastewater capital outlay construction with possible WIFA reimbursement and request to waive section 2-4-10A prior discussion rule.
Second that.
Motion and second for item number 5D.
And Mr. Mayor, members of council, just real quick, wanted to let everyone know that Public Works did their homework on this. They checked with 4 vendors, both on the lowest price and the fastest implementation, and this is both. Thank you.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed, nay. Any abstaining? Motion passed. Thank you, Vince.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So at this time with item E, I will open a public hearing for consideration to approve resolution number 1887 proposing an extension of the alternative expenditure limitation rule, home rule on the 2024 primary election ballot. So I'll open the public hearing, and Shelley, you'll read a resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Resolution number 1887, a resolution of the City of Globe proposing an extension of the alternative expenditure limitation. Is council pleased with the reading of the title?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. All cities and towns in Arizona are subject to some expenditure limitation. The City of Globe is currently operating under the alternative expenditure limitation known as home rule, which Globe voters passed in 2020 for a 4-year election cycle. The current FY 23-24 budget was passed by council in the amount of $65.3 million, which is based on local needs. The state imposed expenditure limitation for Globe for next year's budget, 24-25, is set at $9.7 million. Tonight's public hearing is the first of many state-required processes for the home rule option to appear on the July 30 primary election ballot, proposing an extension of the alternative expenditure limitation, allowing the City of Globe to continue to set its own budget spending limits locally based on local needs, service levels, and available resources. Our next public hearing will be, the second public hearing will be March the 26th, where council will make that final decision on passing the resolution to ask voters to extend that home rule option. This is a very public and transparent process. It's voter driven, so after the approval of the final approval of the resolution, we will work through Pat Walker Consulting and present a financial packet to the Auditor General. They will review it. We will also publish your vote in the paper. We will call for arguments against home rules, against the home rule. That will, all of that information will be put into a publicity pamphlet that the Auditor General will review and approve, and those will be mailed out to the voters in preparation for the July 30th primary election. Questions?
Comments?
And
Jesse?
Mayor, I just think this is very important for the town and the city in general. I mean, I think when we discussed it before, it would send us back to a budget that was based out of like 1980s. Charlie, correct me if I'm wrong. And it would devastate what we have going on. It would devastate city services that the residents have come to rely on. I mean, it would put us so far back. So it's imperative we get this out there and get all that information, good, bad, and indifferent, to the residents, and make sure they've got knowledge on it before we send it up for them to vote on.
You bet.
yeah. Mr. Mayor, members of council,
And I don't think it's ever, we've never seen it fail in our city
Right.
either. But I have seen in another city that really devastated them. A question I have, the 9.7, is that operating budget or total budget that it limits it to?
that'd be operating.
Operating, okay. So, no, not total budget, it'd
No.
be operating, so,
The general fund operating.
and what is that, what year does that go back to that they came up with this 9.7? Is it back in?
Do you remember?
Yeah, 1979, 1980, and then they have an inflation factor that they apply each year. And I think back then it was $2.7 million for that budget in 79, 80.
Yeah, it would truly cripple us, I think, being informed and educated, make sure that, people understand what the alternative expenditure limitation is.
And Mayor, if I could, one second.
Go ahead, Jesse.
Our budget, it has a huge total into it, but that's for proposed grants that we get. If we cap this off at that $2 million, that ties our hands. We wouldn't be able to go out for these grants to get a new fire engine or to get our aging infrastructure replaced. So it's so imperative that we get that out to our residents.
You bet. Paul, what is our operating budget?
Yeah. So, Mr. Mayor, when you said 9.7, I think that's been pretty much where That's where it would reduce down to. I was thinking a different number, but our operating budget, I think right now, full operating budget about 15 million, total budget up in the 40 million. We're at about 9 million just in salaries alone, and so just to make sure I checked with Shelley, and no, that's what it would revert back down to, which would devastate everything. You couldn't run the city with the level of service that we have, and you couldn't do anything above and beyond that. And it's a arcane response to that California tax revolt that happened in, I think, about 1973. Is it Java or Jaffe or and so everybody scrambled so that to try to put something in place and different things like this, and then our legislature tends to not like start fresh but build upon things, and so it's something that we go through, and it's the law, and I think that we tell our story and go through the process, and I have total faith in the residents of Globe that they will understand. So,
But there is a process to eliminate it, right?
yeah, we could do a vote. Shelley, you respond to that, sir.
Yes, we would have to operate under that limitation for 2 years, and then we would be allowed to go back out to the voters. But then it would take another year. It would be the following year's budget that, if it should fail and then pass again after the 2
That
years.
would still cripple us.
So we would be.
2 years
yeah.
would cripple us, yeah. Okay. So do we have any comments? This is open to the
Oh.
public. Any comments?
Yeah. Yes.
If anybody has any comments or questions about the alternative,
And that's-
anybody online or
Is that here? And just let me check. Danny, are you in the email? Looks like I am. No, that's not the right one.
just everything? So there'll be education segments for the public then out there. Great. Nothing online?
Nope, not seeing anything. I would, one clarification, whenever you have these votes, like, props and things like that, the standard format is to have the proposition and then allow arguments for and against. And so we would, allow people to have a period where they could submit, comments in support or comments against. And that's also part of the process. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor. And
Okay. Great, thank you.
nobody on the phone, no text. Okay.
None in the public here, so I'll go ahead and close the public hearing. We'll go to action items. Action item 7A is consideration. Oh. Oh, for the next public hearing, okay, sorry.
Motion made.
Second.
Motion second, to move, Proposition 1887 to the next council for second public hearing? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed, nay? Motion passed. So we'll go to action item 7A, consideration to approve resolution 1885, call of election for the July 30th, 2024 primary election and the November 5th, 2024 general election. Michelle, you want to read resolution 1885, please?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Resolution number 1885, a resolution of the Mayor and Council of the City of Globe, State of Arizona, designating election dates and purpose of election, designating the deadline for voter registration, designating the place and the last date for candidates to file nomination papers. Is council pleased with that reading?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor and members of the council, this is our second reading of our call of election, and this is just letting voters know that we will have seats on the primary election along with our home rule extension. The primary election has been changed from the August 2nd date to July 30th. We are accepting nomination packets for the seat of mayor, District 1 and District 2. The deadline to file packets with the clerk's office is April 1st.
No, I'm good. Okay, Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to move resolution number 1885, call of the election for the July 30, 2024 primary election and the November 5th, 2024 general election forward to the next meeting for final.
This will be an action item.
Okay.
My apologies, this is final.
This is final. Okay. Second.
Motion and a second for approval of resolution number 1885. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Jesse?
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion passed. Thank you, Mr. Shelley. Any late agenda item?
Mr. Mayor, no late agenda items.
Okay, we got second call to the public. Do we have anybody wishing to speak on second call to the public?
I see none.
Scheduling of meetings?
No scheduling of meetings.
We do have a work group,
We have work groups scheduled, but they're not considered council level meetings.
consideration of future agenda items.
We're gonna add the Connie's Bridge update,
Yes.
and I think also an update on the Cottonwood Bridge. I would think that in the future, the fewer bridges we build next to railroads would be better.
Yeah.
So, well, no, but, yeah, no, this is, we can't let you comment during this part, but you, I'm sure we're gonna talk, so, yeah, okay. And, but no, is there anything else other than Connie's Bridge and the Cottonwood Bridge that you'd like to have added? And I didn't get a chance to look at my list of some other things. I know there's, we do need to bring back the Arizona Water IGA so we can manage those. And I'm still jet lagged here, so we do have a working list, but I was wondering if there's anything new.
I would like to make a comment about bridge construction.
Well, in the context of this presentation, what would you like to see?
I would like to see a discussion on the Cottonwood Bridge too, because they're kicking butt down there, and that bridge can be done. So
Yeah,
I
well,
think we need to find out what the difference is. It might be just that it's
Yeah.
running it rather than
and
contracting.
yeah, the Cottonwoods had their moments too. Yeah.
It's coming along pretty good. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm pretty surprised.
And we could add that all in our
Yeah, I think,
future discussion then next week.
the other thing we will have coming up here, and I think we gave you a date of the April 9th, is update on the pool and opening season and everything there. So, we're doing a little butt kicking there too, so we're getting ready. Okay.
Very good.
Just a coin of praise.
Do we have a motion for adjournment?
Motion made.
Motion.
Motion second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed,
Aye.
nay? Meeting adjourned. Thank you for attending.
Hi, guys. Thank you.
7:09.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Hey, I walked by there also. I think you sit on the front porch. I think you guys sit on the front.